One of the most important spies of the Second World War never fired a shot. He never stole a single document. He invented his entire network of agents, 27 men and women who never existed, and Berlin believed them until the day that belief decided the war. His name was Juan Pujol García, a Spaniard from Barcelona, not a soldier, not a diplomat. He had lived through the Civil War in his own country and learned to hate both sides. When the World War began, he made a decision. He wanted to work for the British, so he went to the British embassy in Madrid. The British turned him down. He tried again. Another refusal. A man with no training, no contacts, no access. Nobody needed him. So Pujol reversed the plan. If London would not take him, he would create his own value. He offered himself to the Germans. At the German Abwehr in Madrid, he played the committed fascist, a Spanish official with access to London. The Germans barely checked him. They gave him invisible ink, money, a code name, Arabelle. Then they sent him to Britain. But Pujol did not travel to London. He traveled to Lisbon. There he invented an entire country. From a travel guide, an out-of-date railway timetable, and a map, he built reports on ports, troops, and factories. He had never seen England, so he made mistakes. He wrote that men in Glasgow would do anything for a liter of wine. Berlin read it and believed it. One man could not be everywhere, so he invented colleagues, a pilot, a traveling salesman, a clerk in the war ministry. Each was given a name, a biography, his own voice in the reports. For Berlin, a network spread across the entire island. Not one of its members existed. Then something strange happened. The Royal Navy put to sea to protect a convoy that did not exist. The tip had come from intercepted German radio traffic. In London, it became clear. Somewhere a German agent was at work whom nobody knew, and his reports were fiction. The search ended with the man they had turned away twice. Pujol was brought to Britain. His case officer was Thomas Harris. Together, they expanded the Phantom Network. The service gave him a new code name, Garbo, after the actress, because he was the finest performer they had. For the lie to live, it also had to be able to die. An invented agent in Liverpool had failed to report a major fleet movement, an inexplicable error, so they let him fall ill and die. An obituary appeared in a local newspaper. Berlin sent condolences, and a pension for a widow who never existed. Trust was the real weapon. Over the years, Garbo delivered hundreds of reports. Some were true, some arrived deliberately late, too late to do any harm. For the Abwehr, he was the most important source on the island. That was exactly what London had been waiting for. The Allies were planning the landings in Normandy. Everything hung on a single question. Where would the German reserves be? So the British created an army out of nothing. Tanks made of rubber, landing craft made of wood. Radio traffic from troops that existed only on paper. Their target was to be the Pas de Calais. Garbo supplied the proof. His phantom agents reported troops in the southeast of England. For weeks. Always the same picture. The German command assembled the reports and saw exactly what it was meant to see. Normandy looked like a sideshow. On the night of the invasion, Garbo was allowed to do something unusual. He was allowed to transmit the truth. The landings were imminent. The timing was chosen so that Berlin could no longer react. At the other end, the German radio station was unmanned. The warning went unheard. His standing rose. 3 days later came the decisive message. The landings in Normandy were a diversion. The real blow would fall at Calais. The message reached the highest command. Armored units already rolling west were called back. They waited for an attack that never came. On the beaches, men died who had never heard his name, but the reserves that could have destroyed them stood 200 kilometers away. A man with a typewriter had put them there, not by force, with a story his enemy wanted to believe. Germany awarded him the Iron Cross. Britain honored him with an Order of the Empire. Both sides decorated the same man. After the war, Pujol faked his own death and disappeared to Venezuela. There he ran a small shop. For decades, nobody knew who he was. Only decades later was he rediscovered, an old man who had once invented 27 people, and with them shifted the course of a war. This spy's most dangerous weapon was never a pistol. It was his enemy's willingness to believe the wrong thing.